How unprofound for them to want that to be read to children. The caterpillar. This one rhymes. It's fine. Brown and furry, caterpillar in a hurry. Take your walk to the shady leaf or stalk. May no toad spy you. May the little birds pass by you. Spin and die to live again a butterfly. You know, that's okay. That's okay. Okay, so then there's a course selection from E. E. Cummings, one of the greatest frauds of all time. Kandinsky and Cummings, maybe, you know. Who knows if the moons, and the moon's apostrophe, that's the title of the poem. So here we go. Who knows if the moon's a balloon coming out of a keen city, in the sky filled with pretty people, and if you and I should get into it, if they should take me and take you into their balloon, why then, we'd go up higher with all the pretty people than houses and steeples and clouds go sailing. Away and away sailing into a keen city which nobody's ever visited, where always it's spring and everyone's in love and flowers pick themselves. I wouldn't read that to kids. Let's compare that to Robert Louis Stevenson, The Swing. How do you like to go up in a swing, up in the air so blue? Oh, I do think it the pleasantest thing ever a child can do. Now, isn't that so much more fun than E. E. Cummings' stuff? Huh? Up in the air and over the wall, till I can see so wide, rivers and trees and cattle and all over the countryside, till I look down on the garden green, down on the roof so brown, up in the air I go flying again, up in the air and down. That's what it's like to swing, isn't it? Robert Louis Stevenson. Ah, my gosh, how can those two poems be read back to back and people can't appreciate how insane the idea is that poetry shouldn't have any music qualities? But anyways, going on to the section now of Oriental poetry. It's bad enough to think that the meaning of the poem itself will come over if you translate it and you don't have to worry about the rhyme. That's true to some extent. It's literarily valuable just to get a very straight definition of what they mean in the poem. A good straight translation without messing around with it. When these people translate and the poem rhymes even in the translation, you can bet that they've done a lot of things. There's been a lot of effort put into that. So a direct translation of it is different. Well, here's a direct translation. I would not be surprised to learn that the Orientals have never discovered rhyming poetry. I wouldn't be surprised. But definitely, let's see what they do here, and let's see how we like Oriental poems then translated without any respect for rhyme. Not that there was any to begin with, I don't know. First of all, it says, the authors say, in a few words, sometimes a poet can give us a mood or a picture, and the impact is all the more powerful because the message is condensed. In this section are brief poems by a Japanese poet who lived over 150 years ago, a Chinese poet who wrote in the 8th century, an 18th century Japanese painter poet and two very much alive and writing American poets. Oh, good. Children are often inspired by these small mood and picture poems to create their own. From Firefly by Li Po, L-I-P-O. I think if you flew up to the sky beside the moon, you would twinkle like a star. Now you disappear from view. It'd be so distant, so dim. How about this one? Snow. I could eat it! This snow that falls so softly, so softly. Oh my goodness, that was a good poem, wasn't it? Ruth Krauss gives us the next one. Snow melting. Snow melting, broken shore, little pine tree. That's it, that's the end. Now, you read that to kids and tell them this is a poem, and 97.7% of them, the ones that are listening, are going to say, that's stupid. What is that? What is that? Now, if you tell them this is a poem and you read something that rhymes, they pick up its essential quality just like that. If you tell them this is a poem and you say, snow melting, broken shore, little pine tree, And they say, what's this? That's why they give up on it. That's why so many of you, ladies and gentlemen, have given up on poetry. This one's again by Issa, who wrote The Snow, I Could Eat It. A mother horse keeps watch while her child drinks. I should read, I slaughtered that. I should read it. I'll break it at each line. Sorry about that. A mother horse keeps watch while her child drinks. Okay, on to the next one. Conversation by Buson, B-U-S-O-N. An umbrella and a raincoat are walking and talking together. Okay? You could even do that. That's worthless right there, but you could even do that skillfully. Even that could be done skillfully. I walk with the umbrella in the rain, and I walk with my trench coat, it's wet again, and there's squeakies and sloshing, and they both sound like they're talking. God, I just made that up, and it's so much better than this crap. I just made that up off the top of my head. Rocks by Florence Perry Hyde, H-E-I-D-E. Big rocks into pebbles, pebbles into sand. I really hold a million rocks here in my hand. That one I can take. I kind of like that one. I like that one. Give that to him during geography and say, where do you think sand comes from? Now, it doesn't actually come from breaking rocks. It comes from little teeny tiny things that live in little shells. But anyways, oh, did you hear? This is Shelley Silverstein. Did you hear the president has measles? The principal has just burned down the school. Your hair is filled with jam and purple weasels. April Fool! That one's silly. But you have to let Silverstein off the hook sometimes. Here's a poem that goes A. Doesn't even have a second one. Winter Moon by Langston Hughes. How thin and sharp is the moon tonight. How thin and sharp and ghostly white is the slim curved crook of the moon tonight. Now let's finish this up, what we're worried about with poems here. From Mitsui Yamada, born 1923, A Bedtime Story. I'm going to read this with the breaks. Once upon a time, an old Japanese legend goes as told by Papa. An old woman traveled through many small villages, seeking refuge for the night. Each door opened a sliver in answer to her knock, then closed. Unable to walk any further, she warily climbed a hill. Okay, that's fine. Let's do that again, and this time I'm going to just read it as if it were in a paragraph. And you see if you can tell the difference. Okay? Unless someone were pretentiously imposing, breaking these lines, as this pretentious poet has done, unless they're breaking the lines arbitrarily, there's nothing to distinguish it from a paragraph, from prose. Here we are. Once upon a time, an old Japanese legend goes as told by Papa. An old woman traveled through many small villages seeking refuge for the night. Each door opened a sliver in answer to her knock, then closed. Unable to walk any further, she warily climbed a hill, found a clearing, and yada yada. You cannot tell the difference between that and prose. It's not a poem then. What distinguishes it from prose? Not certainly. Is it this? Is it this? Look here. Is it the fact that it's broken? Is it the fact that the sentences end before the sentence ends? Is it the fact they haven't put it in regular paragraph form? Is that what makes it a poem, that it's not in paragraph form? Let's try William Butler Yeats' Adam's Curse. I'm going to try to ignore the rhyme and rhythm and meter and echo and anything else we find, and I'm going to try to read it as crappy and stupid and useless as Mitsuya Yamada's poem was. We sat together at one summer's end, that beautiful mild woman, your close friend, and you and I, and talked of poetry. I said, a line will take us hours maybe, yet if it does not seem a moment's thought, or stitching and unstitching has been a knot. You can't. The rhyme interrupts you. It catches you. You're like, thought not? And you've got to read a poem a bit slower than you read prose, because the echoes are part of what goes through your mind. Your mind is distracted by the poetic qualities of a poem, and so the ideas are not the only thing in a poem. The poem must interplay with ideas. Now, one last thing. Dominique 666 said, poems don't have to rhyme.